Every step is a struggle for Dietland Erber. An accident has left her with extremely stiff muscles. That's why her dog Bentley helps her carry her shopping in this handy satchel.
Easy.
He's also able to pick up her crutches if necessary. Bentley is more than just a domestic pet. He's a butler, companion, and protector. He's restored some independence to Dietland. Even day-to-day tasks like grocery shopping are often a challenge for Dietland. Were she to lose her balance, she'd be helpless without her dog. He's trained to help her get back on her feet. What she can't do, he does. She says this helps eliminate the stigma of being disabled. Disabled people are sometimes treated like social outcasts or even lepers, she says. It's a taboo subject. People tend to stare and look away in embarrassment, and having a dog makes things easier for me. I'm a woman with a dog rather than with a crutch. On the way home from the market in the Bavarian town of Wolfratshausen, she explains why it's important for her to be able to drive her car. It didn't take long for her to get back behind the wheel after her accident. 24 years ago, a driver going the wrong way slammed into the front of her car. I used to spend a lot of time in the mountains, she says, but I can't do that anymore. But now I can do other things. It's all about looking at what I can do rather than getting sad and dwelling on what I can't. It's important to be flexible and concentrate on new things. She was initially paralyzed by the accident. Some nerve functions gradually started returning, but never fully. Bentley picks up the slack. If she drops something in the kitchen, for example, he'll jump into action. He knows she's unable to bend over and pick it up herself. A camera attached to Bentley's back shows just how enthusiastic he is about his tasks. He is, after all, a Labrador retriever.
Ja, super! Ja, prima. Gif. Ja, ganz gut. Super, prima. Warte gleich. Erber? Grüße. Ja, vielen.
Having Bentley around is also a massive weight off Dietland's husband's mind. He no longer worries about leaving his wife on her own. Both are certain that without the dog, their lives after the accident would be very different. Dietland's husband says the dog stopped them from getting bored. Bentley has brought some life back into the house. Before the accident, I'd been healthy and cheerful, but then I was plunged into depression. But now that we have Bentley, our problems no longer dominate our daily lives. Dietland says that before she always had to ask her husband to get her this or that, or to lift something, which can be annoying. The dog has made them both much more relaxed.
Und das hat dann einfach ein bisschen mehr Entspannung, denke ich, auch bei uns reingebracht.
So where does one go to find a dog like Bentley, who's even able to get along with cats? The Austrian city of Salzburg is 150 kilometers away. That's where Elisabeth Färbinger runs one of just 3 assistance dog schools in German-speaking Europe. She was inspired by schools in the United States. Sophie, a trainer, is trying to teach the young assistance dog Niklas not to leave her side. That's quite a task when you're competing with someone on wheels. Niklas must also learn to respond to numerous commands. Elisabeth Färbinger explains that it's frightening for wheelchair users if they fall out of their chairs, or if the ground is uneven, or if the battery dies. This literally disables them. So it's important that the dog is there to bark for help. Each dog is trained to respond to the needs of their future owner. What they'll be called on to do could vary wildly. It might be opening a door or putting shoes on and off. Not every dog makes the grade. Ferbinger explains these dogs have to be a bit like workaholics. They have to like working and always being with their owners. There's plenty of demand for assistance dogs, but at a cost of some 16,000 euros each, not everyone can afford them. That's why Elisabeth helps in the search for donors and sponsors. With their support, almost 300 people have been matched with four-legged helpers. Nicholas is all set to take on his next task. He's been told to maintain eye contact with Sophie as she guides him through a narrow passage. This is how he'll be expected to behave in public areas like supermarket checkouts. Sophie stays in the wheelchair throughout the exercises in order to tailor the training to the future owner's specific needs. Sophie says that first-time wheelchair users see things from a different perspective because they're lower down and sitting all of a sudden. There are so many things they no longer have access to. Nicholas and Ginger, a collie, are being let loose in the world for the first time today. They get driven to a local shopping mall. Ordinary dogs are not allowed in, but assistance dogs may accompany their owners. They have to behave very well. Shopping at the supermarket is a serious task. Ginger takes a rest, but will he manage to deal with the fact that his owner has disappeared for a moment? Apparently so. Then it's time to pay. Nicholas does everything just right, textbook fashion. He stays on one side and turns just when he has to. The 6 months of training have paid off. She says this is because the dogs are constantly training, on Sundays and public holidays as well. It takes a few hundred hours till they're really ready to go. The next morning, the Kreidler family comes to Elisabeth Ferbinger's kennels to do what's known as a team quality test. Assistance dogs have to pass their exams too. Today, it's Brownie's turn, but who is he helping? Connie Kreidler explains that she has type 1 diabetes and that her diabetes service dog Brownie alerts her when her blood sugar levels fluctuate. Brownie can tell when they go up or down. He does it with his nose. He can actually smell Connie's blood sugar level. A little later, it's all systems go. As soon as Brownie jumps up on Connie, she knows something is wrong. Connie says she'll measure her blood sugar now to see whether Brownie was right. Some diabetes patients can notice on their own when their blood sugar gets too high or low, but Connie can't. That puts her at risk of suddenly passing out. Connie says Brownie was right. The dog noticed that her blood sugar was too high and warned her. She said that relieves her of a huge burden and enables her to react more quickly. But now it's time for another test, the annual Service Dog Certification Checkup. Assistance dogs are always on duty, and they're aware of the responsibility they bear. That makes it hard for Brownie to relinquish that responsibility, to leave Connie Kreidler on her own. Will he let her go? Elisabeth Ferbinger finds nothing to criticize. Brownie passes the test with flying colors and gets his certification. At home with the Kreidlers, Brownie is like a regular domestic pet, but he always makes sure that Connie is nearby. He's a constant companion. Connie says she has a friend who went jogging with her because she wanted someone around who knew about her disability and could help in an emergency, but that limited her freedom. But now she organizes her life around the dog, quite literally. He's always on hand. always nearby. Even at night, he stays close to her bed, alert to her condition. But she says she enjoys her independence. Connie's husband admits there are times when the dog isn't welcome. When that's the case, the couple can close the door for a bit of privacy. Meanwhile, Dietland Erber is taking Bentley to the hospital where she works as a psychologist. Here, Bentley is not only Dietland's service dog, he often helps break the ice when her patients are reluctant to talk about their problems. She says dogs can be better than 1,000 sessions with a psychotherapist, because a dog is also good for people. In other countries, dogs have been used for therapy for a long time, but it's still a new phenomenon in Germany. After work, Dietland Erber takes Bentley and the neighbor's dog for a walk. They both get a good workout. She says the dogs brought fun and enjoyment back into her life. She's not so focused on herself. She takes her cue from him. His enjoyment of life is transmitted to her, she explains, so her own life is enriched as well. She says she can't even begin to imagine life without Bentley.